Hello, film fans. Welcome to All the Film Things. I'm your host, Elizabeth. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave a review and a rating. Also follow All the Film Things on Instagram for updates and more film things. Today, I am talking with Nicole Alyse Nelson. Nicole Alyse Nelson is an actress who has been working in the industry both behind and in front of the camera for over a decade now. Before starring on screen, she moved to LA and quickly began working in various roles behind the scenes, from doing script coverage to being a production assistant to being a boom operator. She has appeared in films such as Love and Baseball and Deadly Daughter Switch, as well as television shows, including Glow and Swedish Dicks. Nicole's first major role was as Dayton Reyes, the ride-or-die best friend to the titular character on the Nickelodeon show I Am Frankie, from 2017 to 2018, which continues to be beloved and regarded as underrated on the famous network. Nicole's recent project, Jane Austen's period drama, earned 8 awards, including the Audience Award at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, before going on to be nominated for Best Live-Action Short at the Academy Awards this past March. We will be talking more about this brilliant short later in our interview, but go to Julia Axe's YouTube channel to watch the film. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was a great intro. You really did your research.
Yes, well, thank you. I always make sure to do as much research as I can to get a good interview, so I'm happy you already appreciate that and I haven't even started with my questions. I love it.
Definitely.
I've been so excited to have you on. I've been looking forward to this for a little while now. Congratulations on Jane Austen's period drama's incredible run during award season. We will talk more about the short later, but a question I often like to begin with is, has there been a film that you would say is a milestone in your life, a film that has had a significant impact on you?
I feel that's such a great question. My go-tos are always I think Mean Girls and Legally Blonde are such strong movies that just hold up no matter how far out we get from when they were made. I feel like they're always going to be relevant and they're always going to be great. And, as a young female at the time watching them, just very empowering, just, teaching you to be yourself. And a lot of those themes in those two movies just really stick with me. And I resonate now as a filmmaker with those are the types of stories that I am really passionate about telling.
Those underdog stories, like in the case of Elle Woods and Legally Blonde?
Absolutely. I've always kind of felt like that growing up, like that kid that was just so short and so underdeveloped and overlooked. And I was the kid that never made the team, never got cast. And it's really just, really empowering to lean on your strengths as opposed to being ashamed of who you are, because that's what makes you unique and that's what makes you you.
Absolutely. And when you moved out to LA, you worked on a few different roles on a set, from a production assistant to a boom operator. What does acting give you that other roles in production do not? Well,
it's obviously very creative. I think when you're on set in any other capacity, other than maybe directing, which is kind of half and half, there's a bit of creativity, but you just have to think really logistically about time and what you're working with. And when you're acting, you can just kind of be in your own world. You can exist in your own space and you can try things and you can go different places. And it's really fulfilling for me specifically to do comedy, because whenever you have nailed something that's just so funny, it's written so well, and it's physical, and you're oh my gosh, I did it. That was so good. That was the take. There's just a magic to it. And you know that you're really bringing something to life and you're going to be entertaining people. It's just the best feeling.
Yeah. And I imagine because you worked in, especially as a production assistant, that you have a lot of appreciation for PAs that maybe those who haven't been in that role have, I guess.
Yeah. There's so many different roles within a set, and obviously the PAs, the production assistants, are kind of the least paid, the people that are the first there and the last out. They do the most. They're running around, and I think that, when I came out here and I was just trying to get experience on a film set to even learn what that meant and how to run it and what kind of people are around, like, it's such a good understanding of knowing what other people's goals are. I think that a lot of actors that only have ever done acting, they've only been on sets when they're acting, they really have to learn the hard way what everybody else is trying to accomplish. And I like to be the actor who's kind of just looking around and noticing, oh, this person from the set deck is having issues with this prop. What can I do in my scene to like help them out? Or like if somebody is, you know what I mean? Like I like to be able to kind of help make the ship run smoothly, so to speak. And if you don't know what people are trying to accomplish or you don't know what their job is, then you can't really help.
Yeah, definitely. And with PAs, I've been one, they do a lot of the little things. And when you get help from people on set, that is so impactful. It really does make a difference.
Yeah.
In an interview, you said one of your go-to films at an early age was Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Goldie is a legend, and she can balance comedy and drama in a brilliant way. Was she one of the first actresses you came to admire?
Yeah, I think so. I think something about like the older women that have just, they, like you said so beautifully, they can balance the comedy and they can put in the heart and they can make you cry. It's like you see so clearly what a career can be and what to shoot for. And I would put right up there alongside, different era, but it's like Lucille Ball is like, a powerhouse of a woman. And you can watch her whole career and how she blossoms, and it's just like an older icon that you're like, wow, that's really how it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you like watching older films like that era from the 60s, 70s?
I think I do, but I'm definitely a person that has to kind of be exposed to it. Like, luckily I grew up with parents who love watching TV and movies. They watch almost everything. And so my mom would really enjoy exposing me to like, oh, I love this movie growing up. You have to watch this. Or this movie is so iconic. You just have to see it. So they were really good about introducing me to things. But I think without somebody like sitting me down and putting it on or telling me in passing, you've got to see this, I'm not the person these days to go like searching for it. Like, best movies of the 60s. Like I definitely would have to be exposed. There are a few cinephiles I know that make it a point to watch everything from a certain era or a certain director from an era. And I'm definitely not that, I'm not that intense about it.
Well, another actress you admire that's more popular today and one of the best actresses of her generation is Emma Stone. Which film made you a fan of hers?
I feel like Easy A was one of the first ones. And then shortly after, like all the Supermans, I loved her Gwen. I just think in that era of Emma Stone, what I love about her and the way she does her roles is like they're not just like bland, pretty girls. And I think it's so easy for like a leading lady to just kind of be generic and just kind of like be like pretty. But like she's always so relatable. And I love the choices that she makes and everything that she does. I always see bits of myself in it, in her quirkiness. And she's just not afraid to like look silly. And I think that just makes a really strong actor.
Do you think a lot of actors today feel that they can't be silly, that not many are willing to take that creative risk?
Yeah, there's definitely types. Like there's, people that are really good at just like looking gorgeous and saying the lines very well and very generically, but there's, and it's not like one is necessarily better than another, but then there's actors that are like Robin Williams, or they're like Jim Carrey or Eddie Murphy. There are people that like make a movie and the movie would not even remotely be the same if you put anybody else in it, because they're just charismatic and they're creative and they're so uniquely themselves. And I do feel like casting and trends, they're kind of in the past several years, they've been leaning away from really, really strong people like that are just so unique. They put their stamp on it, and that's what it is. I feel like I have been seeing more generic kind of casting choices as of late. And I'm really hoping, as everything is cyclical, that it comes back to that kind of like 2000s or even 90s vibe of like going with an actor that just wows you in a sense of like, I never even thought you could deliver that line that way. Because I just think it's what makes movies even more iconic, not necessarily better. They just stand out in a different way.
Absolutely. In the 90s especially, the 90s were incredibly creative and unique, and the 2000s definitely has a bit of that. I mean, just from your picks of Legally Blonde and Mean Girls, they definitely accomplished that, and especially as female-driven films, I think they are absolutely iconic.
Yeah, even Bridesmaids, I always mention that one too. And bringing it back to Emma Stone, I think The House Bunny.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's funny. It's Anna Faris, and then Emma Stone is like, she's more supporting, but she's so good, and it's different. Like, it's a different character from Easy A, but that was like, I feel like around a similar time frame for her.
Yeah, that was one of her first big films, I think. Maybe even before Superbad?
Maybe. It could have been, or I don't know, very close together.
Yeah, definitely before Easy A. That's where I first saw her as well, and that was a very original performance. And she continues. I mean, look at her, 2 Oscars down already. It's amazing.
Yeah. Look at her go.
Yeah. Since we haven't gotten to talk about film before, do you have one singular favorite film?
Not like one. No, that's a very hard question.
Yeah.
I think everything I've already brought up and that you've brought up are all favorites and standouts. I mean, I think as far as like the epicness of a movie goes, Titanic has got to be up there. It's just a solid film. You're never not going to be in the mood for Titanic. I feel like when it comes on, you can't turn it off.
No,
it's
you
like,
cannot.
okay, well, now we're watching Titanic.
You can't turn it off. Sorry. Go ahead.
You can't.
No. I can't believe you just mentioned Titanic. That's my tied for favorite film of all time. You can't turn it off, especially you have Leonardo and Kate Winslet together. And that's one of the greatest actor-actress duos. How can you turn a film like that off?
I know. And I've learned all too well, like, it's been on before. Somebody's had it on, and I'll just be like, oh, I'll just do this thing while it's on. And I never, ever, ever accomplish what I was going to do. Because it doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, it will fully captivate me. So that's just a great movie.
It's a textbook perfect film. It has everything you could want in a film. It's absolutely tremendous. Anyone that says it's overrated, I just don't think has seen it recently.
True. It's like, put it on again. Come back.
Yeah, revisit it, and then you'll be absolutely amazed. Especially as people who love film get older and they see what a technical masterpiece it is, from doing one-take shots of the whole ship going down by sinking. It's unbelievable. And they push technology for that film. How do people not appreciate it? I don't get it.
I know.
While visiting your partner, fellow actor Jonah Alyse on the set of Blue Moon, you got a front row seat to watch Ethan Hawke's Oscar-nominated performance as Larry Hart. Did watching him, or even maybe talking with him, impact how you approach art and acting?
Well, I didn't see enough of his process on a day-to-day basis to kind of like have it like do something different for me. I think like he was very much a person who did all the work. Like when he showed up, he was prepared, and you could tell how much work he was putting in because he really didn't have the time to do anything else. I mean, we were in Ireland for a month. The whole thing took a month, and I don't think he had time to do one fun thing. And he didn't, go out or see anything. And I overheard him saying, my wife's coming to town for a week. I feel bad. I'm not taking her anywhere. But it's like he just in a role like that with that much dialogue and that much specificity, you've got to know it. So yeah, I think he blew everyone away. He's amazing. But he really just showed up prepared, and I could just tell based on what he was doing and what he was saying that it was all consuming for him.
That was no easy feat, that role. The dialogue, it must have been one of the hardest challenges to just memorize it all, not only deliver it, but just to get that memorization down.
Yeah, and I did ask him, I said, is this, as far as movies go, I mean, is this the most dialogue you've ever had? And he was like, yeah, but I've had plays with more. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, he's definitely used to this.
Yeah. He's done a few things over the course of, 40 years maybe? He was a child actor.
Yeah, he's got it down.
Oh, yeah. From one massive Harry Potter fan to another, we have to talk about that incredible series. Do you think you learned a lot about film and storytelling techniques through watching the 8 Harry Potter films?
I mean, definitely. They're just so classically good and evil, learning who to root for. It was kind of the beginning of, for me, really enjoying books. I wasn't a big reader before that came into my life, and just being able to really appreciate a good story that you want to pick up the book and you want to do that as opposed to anything else. And I remember it being the first series that ever made me cry. I was alone in my room reading a book, and next thing I know, my tears are hitting the pages. And I look around and I'm like, this is crazy. It's 8:00 on a Thursday night and I am bawling my eyes out because of what's on this page. So it's just really impactful stuff.
Do you remember which scene first got you?
I feel like Dumbledore going in the 6th book was the first one. And then obviously for the 7th book, I mean, Dobby just destroyed me.
Oh, absolutely. And the film doesn't make it any easier either.
No, not at all.
Oh. Do you have a favorite film of the 8?
Favorite film? I feel like I really enjoy the magic of 1 and 2. It's so different from all of the other ones. It's so classic Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But when you get into the darker stuff, I actually really enjoyed Order of the Phoenix. And I think that always stood out to me because as far as the books go, Order of the Phoenix was my least favorite book. It was hardest for me to get through. It took me maybe an entire school calendar year. I just thought it was so depressing, and I was like, okay, we get it. But I loved what they did with the movie, because for me the movie didn't drag like the book did, and it reminded me how many great things actually happened. And it's the movie almost made me appreciate the book more, which that didn't happen for any of the other films because I just loved the book. It wasn't better. It didn't spark a new appreciation. It was just, this is the 3rd one. This is the 6th one. but the Order of the Phoenix, I love the movie because it just, it made me appreciate the book.
Yeah, that's funny. The 5th one flew right by for me. I loved those books so much. And the films, especially towards the end when, Bellatrix is introduced and Lucius Malfoy's with her and then Voldemort comes up. It is epic. It's tremendous. And as a kid, when you're watching it, when you're younger, you're on the edge of your seat. This is true danger. It's hinted at in the 4th film with Cedric when he died, but the 5th one was kind of it really ushered in this further, it confirmed the darkness, basically.
Yeah. So many new characters come from that 5th one. It's a whole new world.
Including, the worst character, Umbridge.
Oh, God, yes.
I loved you went on a studio tour of the whole set, and when you got to the Umbridge costume on display, you said it immediately made you sick.
That's hilarious. I don't even remember saying that, but I don't doubt that is 100% true.
She played it too good for a whole like generation, or really everyone who watches Harry Potter to just hate her, maybe even more so than Voldemort. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a perfect portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I don't know anybody else who could have done Umbridge like that.
No. If you could create your own character to portray in the Harry Potter world, what do you envision that to be? Like, what house would you be in? Would you want to be involved in the dangerous action? Which characters would you befriend?
I feel like I'd be someone that's like a mix between a Hermione and a Luna. Like somebody really, really intelligent who like saves the day by just knowing spells, like not necessarily being, the most heroic or the strongest, but being like, oh, I remembered something nobody else did.
Mm-hmm.
That would kind of be my vibe. And then I just love Luna because she's so innocent and likable and in a world of her own. And I feel like I would either be like a Ravenclaw or a Slytherin. I don't know. I feel like that would be fun.
Are you one of those houses in real life?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would always get Ravenclaw. And then when I retook the test at about like, I don't know, 20, 21 years old, and it told me I was Slytherin, and I couldn't believe it. So I took the test again, and it still came back Slytherin. And I was oh my God. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to take that I'm very ambitious, and that's cool. But in the past several years, I retook the test, and I'm back to Ravenclaw. But I just feel like when I read it, like when I read the trait, I do think I'm more of a Ravenclaw because I kind of lead with my head and my knowledge. I don't like, tend to freak out or like act before I think about a very logical next step.
Yeah. Ravenclaw, I think, is an underrated house because a lot of people would maybe prefer to be Gryffindor, but it's quite a compliment to be considered a Ravenclaw with that drive, that intellect, that curiosity, and Luna, as you said, is a fantastic character, a true original in that incredible world.
Yeah, definitely.
When you came to LA, you really hustled in making your dreams a reality by self-submitting auditions, networking with fellow creatives, and sending cold emails. How many times did you hear no, or in these days just get no response before hearing the first major yes to get you where you are today?
Gosh, I've heard no more times than I can count. I mean, I think at the beginning, there was a lot less, surprisingly, there was a lot less no because I wasn't like going in major rooms. Like, I Am Frankie was my third like major audition ever. And before that, it was like non-paid student films, non-paid short films, like non-union commercials. Like it was things that not a lot was riding on it, and the payment was either so small or nothing. It would just be fun to get. Like it'd be like, oh, that could be cool footage. That would be a nice way to spend a Friday. But I just put myself out there so much, and I just kind of threw myself into any and every room that people were really like perceptive of okay, this girl is new. She's happy to be here. We'll give her a chance. I feel like a lot of the no's actually came after I Am Frankie. I started learning that there are like, different ceilings. There's different caps and different mountain peaks, and when you get to the top of a mountain, you're at the bottom of a totally bigger one. And for me, I Am Frankie happened pretty quickly. Like I said, it was like my third really big, actually cool and exciting audition ever. That was like a year into me moving out here. And then once I was like, okay, I have like a really cool credit. I have actual on-set experience. I have something in my name. I should be able to get into bigger rooms now. And I did, but that's when like a ton of no's started happening because I was like a super small fish in a big pond instead of being like, the big fish in the small pond. So it was just the start of a brand new, bigger mountain where you're suddenly losing roles to people who are actual names, like Joey King and Chloe Grace Moretz. And I was just thrown into this category where I was like, oh, this is actually so much harder.
Yeah. Well, has there been a film that you've auditioned for that you didn't get? That, I don't know how to word this question. It's not one of my written questions, but yeah, basically, was there an audition that you had really hoped that you would get and end up didn't getting it after I Am Frankie?
Oh, too many to count. Genuinely too many to count. Like I keep an audition tracker to keep track of, how frequently I'm going in and what agent gets what and what casting directors are calling me back. Because again, I'm a Ravenclaw. I like to know these things. So I keep track of it. And I think, I think I'm up to like almost 400 no's.
Whoa.
Since one of my last paying projects. So yeah, it's too many to count.
Is that hard for you, like when you don't get something, or is it just part of the business? Is that how you see it? It's part of the business, and it's just one person is right for a certain part, basically, that kind of mentality.
Well, it's much easier said than done. I think for a majority of the time, it's like, okay, that's the way that it goes. But every now and again, there will be a role or a project that you're just like positive that it's like, okay, this is the fit. This is the one. Nobody does this character like I do. This just makes sense. Like I feel it in my bones. And then it just doesn't. And you're just like the rug has been pulled out from under you. Like I had the dates for filming. I was certain I was doing this, and something happened. And those are hard. I think they're hard for anyone. I mean, luckily that doesn't happen every couple weeks or every couple months. It's usually like, maybe every couple years that you're that certain about something that then doesn't go your way. And I think for a majority, like 95% of my life in the business is just that mentality of, okay, well, somebody's a better fit. Yeah. Somebody knows somebody, whatever. But, it's like the 5%, maybe even less than 5% that's actually hard if you really care about it.
Yeah, I imagine so. You do all this preparation, you have this vision for it, and you get excited about it. That sounds absolutely natural in this tough business.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in your introduction, you were on the sci-fi drama Nickelodeon series I Am Frankie. As a longtime viewer of Nickelodeon and Disney shows, what does it mean to you to be a part of Nickelodeon's legacy?
Gosh, I mean, I can't even eloquently put into words just how epic that was for me. I really was a kid that just latched on to those kids shows way longer than a lot of other kids. Like those shows were like my lifeline. I would run back from school and just put them on, and I knew every word. And yeah, to be on one of those two major networks, Disney and Nick, is just surreal, really.
What did you hope kids would take away from your character of Dayton?
Well, I just love Dayton because Dayton is so herself. She's so accepting and she's so understanding, and there's not a lot of judgment there. I feel like she judges herself more than she judges other people. And I just think that she's like the type of friend that everybody should strive to look for. Somebody who's going to uplift you and teach you and help you and just be in your corner regardless of the situation. Just like a dream best friend. Everybody should be looking for a Dayton.
Yeah, someone as loyal and helpful. I mean, your character immediately, when Frankie came to school, just immediately said, we'll be friends, and helped her tremendously become more human, which is what she wanted.
Yeah.
How did you make Dayton your own from how the character was written in the script?
She was already written really clear. Like to me, the second I read it, I was like, I understand this person. Like, I feel like he actually started writing to my strengths a little bit. Like, they learned I was really, really good with like physical comedy and tricking and spitting and things like that. But otherwise, I mean, I just kind of did it. Like, Dayton was so natural. I wouldn't say I did anything much different. I just like felt it in my bones. And I was like, this is how to deliver the line. And there's like no other way, because it's funny and it's kind and it's Dayton.
Yeah. There was a shift in tone from season 1 to season 2. And considering that you lived in the character of Dayton for 2 years, what did you learn about Dayton as you developed the character 2 years in?
She didn't, in my opinion, she didn't change too much. I think Frankie was the one changing and learning and developing. Frankie definitely had an arc. But one of the beautiful things about like sitcoms is that a lot of the characters don't ever change. And it's part of what makes the formula so good, because you put these people that you get to know in all these different situations and you throw life at them, and you immediately know how every single one of them is going to react and going to handle it. And so, yeah, they just did that really well.
Yeah, and your character was, it almost seemed like your character was so likable that you weren't able to be touched. Like, it would be hard for the audience to see your character in duress like the other character, really all the other characters were.
Yeah, well, I learned early on that one of the directors told me, because I gave a lot of really good reactions to whatever was happening. And they were like, the audience knows how to feel about what's going on through Dayton's reaction. So they're like, you are the audience. And so we cut to you for different, oh, that was funny. Oh, that was not cool. Oh my gosh, that is a shock. Because like, you know, Frankie doesn't always know how to feel or is misled. And Dayton's like always around witnessing everything. So they're like, you are experiencing this show as the audience should be experiencing the show.
I think I read that your character was a fan favorite.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. She was definitely written like that.
I hadn't seen the show prior to preparing for this interview, and I haven't seen a Nickelodeon show in 10, maybe closer to 15 years, and I really quite enjoyed it, especially the arc in the second season, how it got darker, and there was a bit of a, I just did an episode on All the President's Men, and the paranoid thriller aspect of Warpa's big plan was just, it deeply unsettled me. So it was a good show, and I definitely understand why so many were hoping for a season 3.
Yeah, they did leave it on that cliffhanger.
They did. But if they ended on season 1, that cliffhanger would have been even harder for audiences to handle.
Yeah, agreed.
Has it been challenging to not be pigeonholed to roles similar to Dayton Reyes as you've transitioned into more adult roles since the show ended?
Yeah, I think that when you live with a character for so long, there's a certain type of like, for a while, I was just kind of infusing Dayton into everything unknowingly. And I really had to work and coach and like go to classes to just like understand how to embody other tones. And one of the things that, you know, kind of lingers with me as an actor and a person is I definitely bring more of like an innocence to characters who don't always need or require that innocence. So I'm definitely on the lookout for ways that it's, you know, pigeonholed, so to speak, because I definitely want to be versatile, and I want to be just like somebody who has the ability to do all these different genres and all these different characters. And I feel like I've just come leaps and bounds from like when I wrapped the show and was going back into the audition course and just being like, oh, I'm in Nickelodeon mode, permanently. And so it's been a ride.
Yeah, I imagine. And I know one of your biggest aspirations is to make a drama film. If you could star opposite any actor in a drama, who would it be?
Who would it be? So many. great people.
Yeah.
A drama. I feel like my brain automatically goes more to comedy.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
feel like I have more of a clear like vision for that.
Mhm.
Like I don't even know who's like really amazing at drama that I've recently loved.
I mean, as a Titanic fan, Kate Winslet comes to mind.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm like blanking on her name right now,
What
which
else was she
is
in?
not
I can
good.
help.
She, I believe, is Australian,
Okay.
and she was in Hereditary.
Oh, Toni Collette?
God, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Toni Collette is amazing. Yeah, she stands out to me as a person who's so great at drama, who I'm always just enamored by any role that she does.
She's quite underrated as an actress. She's
Agreed.
excellent and versatile.
Agreed. She's amazing.
Though you're a working actress, you aspire to be a director someday. Did you know you wanted to be a director before being an actor?
So, maybe this has changed since the last time we came across this, but at this moment in time, I'm not actually positive that I want to be a director.
Oh.
I definitely like writing and producing. I think if I were to direct, it would really have to be the right story that I just see so clearly that I'm just like, if anybody else did this, they would ruin it. Because I think directing is a lot of work. It sounds like headaches and dehydration to me. But I really love writing and I love producing, and obviously I love acting. So I'm leaning more towards writing and producing these days, and filling out those roles, and seeing what I can do there professionally and expanding my career. But one day I might direct. I just think I have to be really, really passionate because, like I said, it's a lot of work.
Yes. You're surrounded by so many people asking a million questions. Whenever I think of the stress of directing, I can't help but think about 8.5, and that is, the way you're put in that perspective of the character. It's a tough job. You have to have a good pre-production, but some directors just can answer a million questions at once, and that's a key skill to have.
I know, and I think one thing that I know about myself is I'm not great at answering questions quickly. I'm definitely the type of brain that's like, let me process what you said and let me get back to you on an answer.
Yeah.
And for directing, that's just not good enough. It's like you have to know, you have to pivot, things go wrong, and you have to have a solution in a matter of seconds. And I just think, it sounds so stressful. I would really have to really want to do it, because right now that's just like, no thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely one of the most commanding roles on a production. You have directed some short films. Was halfway there the first time you took on the directing role?
I have not. Oh, wait a second. You mean like, the stuff that I was posting? Okay, yeah. I'm with you now.
On YouTube.
I was like, right. Okay, this is the thing. I'm a YouTube kid. Like, I grew up making YouTube videos at like age 11. Age 11. So, I mean, I must have hundreds of uploads to YouTube. So, it's so funny. I don't look at those jobs and consider it directing, even though I guess it totally is. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where it's like when I'm alone in a room with a camera, or even if you have a friend or two friends, I've never even allowed that to enter my mind until you said it 5 seconds ago. that is what I was doing, because I just grew up doing it. It was like a hobby. So in the middle of COVID, I kind of returned to my hobby, and I was just like, I'm gonna make a video because. That's what I spent my whole childhood doing, and I've got nothing else to do. So yeah, I if that's the case, it would not be the first time. I grew up doing it, and so all those little skits and like YouTube things, I'm very familiar with. I think when I think of directing, I think about like a crew of people,
Yeah.
like responding to a room full of people who are helping with lighting and this and that. And I just have too much experience being alone in my room with one light and one camera and like figuring it out.
Were those YouTube videos from when you were 11, were all those gone? Because I couldn't find any of those. I just found the channel from the pandemic.
Yeah, they're still around. But when I was a kid, my family was very weary of the internet. They didn't want me to have a Facebook page. They didn't want people to be able to trace where this 11-year-old lived. So
Sure, yeah.
I didn't put like my full name out there. I was just like a kid that had like a funny username. And I built up a little bit of a following, but like I never told people where I was based. It was just like that era where like Fred Figglehorn was big, Nigga Higga was big, Gen X 10 was big. It was just like the YouTube Super Mac 18 comes to mind. And everybody had like funny names and you didn't even know their last name a lot of the time. It's like that's what I was doing.
Well, I liked a lot of the videos that you posted on your channel from the pandemic, especially your film Enlightened. I really enjoyed Enlightened, and I've been trying to analyze it, and I keep coming up with several different perspectives and messages of the film, but I'm curious what the message you intended for the film.
Well, I think we're living in an age where people just rely so heavily on technology to kind of, it's like brain rot. It's just like when you've got nothing to do, you scroll, you put on a game. Like people don't really sit with themselves or get creative or like play games or make games or go outside or anything. And I think it's one of the major problems with living in this era, especially kids coming up in this era. Technology is so addictive that I think the message is just like, if you didn't have it, if you couldn't have it, if you went back in time, if all of the power in the world ceased to exist, what would you do? Like, how would you spend your day? If somebody just came into your home and took away your iPhone, what would your day look like? So it's just like two roommates being forced to like, I don't know, maybe we like bake something. What's baking? I don't know. Just forcing yourself to do something that's not like on a screen because that's just what everybody does. Yeah,
that was a great short, and it kind of reminded me of the meme that's kind of going around right now that shows an iPod Nano and how our souls were free, basically, at that time. And your film kind of embodied that in a way, in one of the analysis that I had.
Yeah, it's definitely a theme that I'm passionate about when it comes to like writing and producing other things that speak to me.
Yeah.
I always come back to that. I think that technology is good in lots of ways, but I think in most ways it's taking away our creativity and our ability to connect. I just think it's a really pressing issue.
And it just keeps getting worse, as you said, with the younger generation, younger than us, the ones that really grew up with technology and not playing outside. It's a little concerning, and I think what your film says about getting back to life more and having fun and having that whimsy is really important. And I hope that younger generation, more of the TikTok generation, finds it and maybe inspires them to do something different and socialize in person and do fun, silly things like mixing and creating different types of foods, as you both did in the film.
Yeah, I mean, I have littler cousins who are like, age 13-ish, and they'll literally have sleepovers and everybody will just be sitting in silence scrolling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is the point of everybody being in this room and you're not spending any quality time?
No. I wonder if you pull out a game, I don't know many people that are younger than me in that generation, but I just wonder if you do pull out a puzzle, if you do pull out Monopoly or something, just a board game, if they would engage with that, or if they just would prefer to, if the power is on, stay on their phones and play a video game.
Yeah, I don't know.
In a previous interview, you teased that you've been working on a project for a long time now that you've written and produced that you'll also star in. Is there any more you could share about this exciting future project?
I don't believe so at
Okay.
this time. It's kind of like definitely chucking along, amazing improvements. I just finished a new draft this morning, actually.
Oh, wow.
We're just in a great place of assembling the right team. And so until we get like a press release, I don't think I can say anything.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited for whatever it is. That's a big deal to have a project you've been working on for a long time and get close to turning it into a reality. So just congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jane Austen's period drama, one of your most recent projects, received the highest acclaim by earning an Oscar nomination for Best Live Action Short at the Academy Awards a few months ago. Congratulations on this incredible award season run. What is the film about?
So the film is a 13-minute kind of like satire that is a period piece about literal periods. And it's just a very clever, funny piece that kind of highlights, the taboo of like speaking about women's bodies and the daily reality that every woman at some point is not somebody somewhere is going through that today.
Mm-hmm.
And also just like highlighting the lack of knowledge that a lot of people, not just men, but a lot of people have about it. I think we should not, be afraid to speak about something that affects over half of the population.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the film, have you gotten more comfortable discussing the still largely taboo subject at the center of the film?
Yeah, I think I've always been a kind of person who just kind of like lays it out. Like I've had historically bad periods, and I've been a person who's traveled around with a little heated water bottle or a little portable TENS unit that you like put on your ovaries and turn it on. And in public, I'll just look at somebody and be like, sorry, bad cramps. I'm on my period. I've always been a person to just kind of not shy away with what's happening to me, because I do think more people can relate than what you'd think, even people that don't go through that themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hoping that, it sparks a conversation. It was definitely one of the submissions this year that people either loved or hated because it was so specific in our message. So you get it or you don't.
Yeah. Well, I imagine women were especially amused by the film, but what has the response been from guys? Do you think guys have warmed up to being more supportive and receptive to learning about period drama?
Well, luckily, the men that I'm surrounded by are all really delightful, insightful, loving men. And so all of them have been really nice about it, and they genuinely think it's funny. I only hear about it, not striking right with certain people that review it or, comments online or, what you hear through the grapevine of like film festivals and things. I just think that I don't personally know those people, but like any man that finds great offense in what we made is like probably part of the problem, because
absolutely.
There's no real reason to be offended. Mr. Dickley is a great character, and just because he hasn't been taught something, doesn't mean we're making fun of like every guy ever. And there are people out there that don't know everything and probably learned a thing or two after watching it. So yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter.
Definitely. And I'm surprised there were many bad reviews of the film, well, for there to be a mixed reaction, because I love how the film reimagines history of women's health by creating this pivotal moment that, I mean, can you imagine if this was real and how different the conversation would be today? It probably wouldn't be a taboo subject.
Yeah, and I do have to clarify, there weren't many that were bad, but
Okay,
when there
good.
was a review that was bad, it definitely stood out because it'd be like, how do you not understand?
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority, I mean, that's kind of the reason we went all the way to the Oscars. People were very, very supportive of the mission and the vision. So much so, we were honestly shocked and pleasantly surprised just how many people did relate and enjoy, because this is definitely something that Julia and Steve were passionate about making, but they had no idea it would go all the way to the Oscars. It kind of just, it surpassed all of our expectations.
Yeah, I think you said it was like the biggest surprise or the best surprise of your career or something like that. And also because you found out about it in 2023 and it's considered is it a 2024 film? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it released in 2024.
Wow.
It's kind of a blur because I've been a part of it for so long and I've had so many emails and conversations, and I definitely watched it in 2023, but I don't think it was a public release.
Ah, okay. Yeah. It came out right after the Oscar nomination, right? On YouTube?
Oh, you mean this year? We
Oh, yeah,
released
this year.
it. Yeah, we released it publicly after the nomination because there were just so many people that were asking about how to see it, and as a team, they determined that it would be better for people to be able to watch it than not, because the only reason we hadn't put it out before is because with the festivals, you have to kind of keep things locked up and secretive so that it makes it a moment for the festival.
Of course.
And like when you hit the Oscars, you're like, this is the peak. Like we will not be doing anything beyond this. Let's just put it out there. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and with that Oscar nomination, I can't imagine the number of eyes, the number of views that happened when it was nominated. That's incredible exposure to a film. It's amazing.
Yeah, I still can't even properly imagine how many people have probably seen it in the Academy and not. I mean, it's crazy exposure. It's amazing.
Before reading the script, did you know that the film wasn't the drama that many assumed it would be?
Well, I did audition, so I got 2 pages before I got the full script, and from those 2 pages, I determined it was a comedy because it was written so well and so sharply. I was like, oh, okay, this is very clever, and this is fun, and this is funny, and this is light, and this is, so I knew what the vibe was instantly. What I didn't know was just like how far they were going into the message, and I didn't know just how clever it was. There were so many jokes packed in there. Yeah, it was just the full thing was just better than I could have imagined based off of the 2 pages that I had.
In those 2 pages, did you learn that you would be working with a chicken?
I knew I would be working with a chicken because of the breakdown for the character. They told me like a couple sentences just to get a sense of who I am playing, and it said must be comfortable holding a live chicken. And I think the end of this whole scene was me like running away to get the chicken. So I I was like, this will be part of it, but I absolutely love animals. So it wasn't like, a deterrent or anything. If anything, it made me want to do it more because I love working with animals so much. I think it adds another layer when you know this is a thing that is not acting. It is living its life. It is being authentic, and it could do anything at any moment. And you have to work around the animal. Like that is the thing. And so it was very fun.
And considering you drift more towards comedy, and this is largely a comedy film, is comedic timing something you've been able to develop or have learned early on from watching other actors?
It's definitely something that I've always kind of innately had. I definitely sharpened it a bit when I first came to LA. I went to Leslie Kahn, and one of the first things that they teach is like they break down like a sitcom and physical comedy and beats and all that. But I think like aside from a textbook style learning, I just really had a lot of the timing in my bones already. And it was probably due to like growing up with Disney and Nickelodeon, and also like watching I Love Lucy with my mom. Like I mostly consumed really, really funny things. And so I would just understand. I would get how to do a joke, and I would get where it lands. And I didn't necessarily know like why it worked, but I'd be like, this worked.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of I Love Lucy, what was it like for you to kind of reenact the conveyor belt scene in an episode of I Am Frankie?
That, honestly, when I first saw that was written, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dream. This is amazing. Yeah. And then I'll say when we were filming it, I was kind of like in my head and like bummed about it because I just knew how funny it could be. Obviously, when you're comparing it to Lucille Ball, that is the very best it will ever be.
Sure.
And the conveyor belt was this itty bitty, like 2-foot long thing. And when I was reading it, I was imagining a set that I could like put my whole body on. And so when I showed up, I was like, oh no, I don't know how to be funny with this. This is like small. Like I can't put my weight on it. I can't do anything. So I remember like kind of being bummed after I shot it because I was like, I didn't do Lucy justice. It was not funny.
No, it was funny.
And I don't even remember how the edit came out, but I just remember being so sad about the size of the conveyor belt because it just wasn't that iconic scene.
Well, it did turn out pretty funny. Right when I saw what was happening, I thought, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And knowing that you were a Lucille Ball fan, I imagined it would be just so exciting, whether it was brought up by you or if it was just in the script, as you said. What an incredible thing to be a part of recreating that. There's a history of that scene being remade in many different ways, and now you're a part of that, which is amazing.
Yeah, so iconic. It was just written. I didn't ever bring it up, and I was so happy when I saw it.
And this was the first production you worked on that was set in the 1800s. Do costumes such as the white dress you wore in the film greatly help you get into a character?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it really informs the time and, you know, women having to wear dresses and what that feels like. And it makes you stand and sit and walk differently. And I just think costumes in general, they really inform a character because, at least for the most part, you're wearing a costume knowing that this is what your character chose. Like if you had a closet full of this and 20 other outfits, like, again, for the most part, I guess there could be a scene in which they didn't pick their outfit and they were unhappy about it. But for the most part, you're wearing something because you like it and you like the way it fits and you like the way it looks. And even when you're playing a character that puts on something really kooky, it's super informative because you're looking at these patterns going, this person thought this was a good idea. And then you're getting in their head being like, okay, well, if this is a go-to outfit, what does that say about the rest of their life choices?
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting. That's quite an analytical process. Do you normally like create a backstory and go through those decisions like point by point, like bringing it down to kind of analyze the character to create the best performance you can?
It's all time dependent. Like if I have a lot of time with the character, I like to kind of dive into those details. But most times on most jobs, even if it's just a fleeting thing, or you won't have all the time in the world. So you just kind of have to look at something like some of the dialogue or your outfit and just make a choice and have an instinct and be like, this is what I'm running with given the time constraints. And you just kind of move towards the feeling.
And this film was largely improvisational. Are you more comfortable with improv, or do you like to stick more with a script?
I definitely like a script. I'm not. I took improv in high school, and I get like the basic fundamentals of it. But for me, I really enjoy knowing what I'm supposed to say, even if I don't end up saying it. I think knowing the script actually gives you the freedom to go off because you get the overall point and you can add things and you can change things and you can, hone it in, but you get the overall picture. I think one of the things that always stresses me out with improv is not actually knowing where you're going to go. Yeah. I'm just a person who likes knowing that arc and knowing that photo in advance. So it's not something I can't do. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah. To have that kind of brain to be able to do something so quickly and to react so quickly and act on what the other person is saying, that is a very tough skill to nail down.
Yeah, definitely. And luckily for us, like, especially with Jane Austen, like, it was just written so well. There's not anything, you couldn't even add something better than what they wrote if you tried. It was just so good.
And you were especially keen to nail the British accent, which you definitely did. And that's a famous challenge for American actors. Was that harder or easier than you anticipated?
Well, my partner is British. So for me, it was quite easy. I think it's something that I've just been hearing in my ear every single day for over 6 years. I don't think there's a single word in the English language that I haven't heard in British. I don't think there's a word that exists. And on top of that, like, I've spent about a year, maybe close to 11 months of my life in England. So I've definitely had a lot of exposure, and having him helping with like the accent, the dialogue coaching he did for us was just amazing, because if there was any confusion, I could just lean over and be like, is this right?
Yeah.
But it did come really naturally. I mean, he kept saying, I don't need to help you at all. Like, you know it. And I'm like, that's very nice, but help me.
Well, you didn't think that you had nailed it? You were trying to continuously perfect it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you want to get right. And I didn't want to be like that ignorant American that, said it right once and assumed that it was perfect. And then I get to set and I do a take and it's wrong. And I'm like, I ran like saying certain lines as many different ways as I could, because I didn't want to get locked into a specific inflection. So I didn't want to only be able to say the line correctly, like one way. So I would just run it lots of different ways, and he would just tell me if anything stuck out that was incorrect.
Wow. That's quite tremendous.
Thank you.
I've never heard of an actor doing that, but I'm really quite amazed by that. And you and Jonah were attending the Oscars for the first time together. He had a film, Blue Moon, that he starred in, as you had Jane Austen's period drama. What has it been like to have someone along for a ride that's so similar to yours? I mean, that doesn't happen for people to have such a moment like that at the same time.
Yeah, it was really incredible. And I think it's just, it falls perfectly in line with our relationship, honestly. We're so in tune, and we're so like, kind of, even when we first started messaging each other, like over 6 years ago, it was like, oh, I'm learning how to write scripts. And he's like, me too. I'm in the middle of writing my first script ever. And I was like, me too. Like, wow. we have a habit of like doing things at similar times and kind of learning together and helping each other. So it was really like beautifully poetic that for the first time we're kind of navigating gifting suites and figuring out what to wear, and like we're doing it at the same time together. Like many things in our life has happened that way. So it was just a beautiful experience.
That's amazing. And speaking of the Oscars, your dress was so stunning. Did you have in mind what you wanted to wear, or a designer, or I'm curious about how that process was like for you, for your first Oscars especially.
Yeah. Thank you. At first I was just completely at a loss. I was just reaching out to people being like, what stores do I go to? And I first started off like, trying on dresses from like a fashion house here in LA that's like, it's really designer stuff. Like you have to pay just to walk in the door.
Wow.
So you get like, an hour to try things on, and they have your sizes and things so they can kind of direct you in a right direction and pull some things in advance. But it was a really cool experience. And if I wanted something designer like Oscar de la Renta, or like something that did, I could have done that. But then I was with a publicist for the run, Lisa, as you know, and
yes, Lisa.
She connected me with Paul Askew. She's like, this is a local designer who's like very passionate about this and wanting to dress you. And so I met up with him and Patrick, and they just kind of showed me around, and they're like, this is our vibe, this is what we have. And I didn't really know much of what I wanted beyond like a color palette. As like the period drama, we were doing lots of like reds and neutrals and whites and blacks. And I was like, I kind of want something that could be anywhere from like white to pink to red. And he just pulled this like champagne color that he's like, this has got blushes through it. It's got a lot of silvers and golds, and it's neutral. And he said, this also feels, he said, this dress feels very menstrual to me. And we started laughing, and Patrice said, what the hell are you talking about? And he said, look at these flows. He said, it's so flowy. And he said, this is flowing down and this is flowing up. And is the whole thing not about a woman's flow? And so we just kind of tried a lot of things on, but we ended up going with the dress that funny enough felt menstrual to him. But it was, I loved the off the shoulder little moments happening. I just wanted something that felt different, that wasn't like a normal dress. I kept telling everybody, my manager, my publicist, anytime I tried on a dress, I kept saying, I'm as like a person going through life, I feel like I don't have that much style. Like style is not super important to me. I'm a person who prioritizes comfort. I love things that are comfortable, and if they're cute and comfortable, great. But I don't lead with fashion. And I was like, because of that, I actually want to choose something that's quite bold. Like I want to put myself out of my comfort zone, and I don't want to go with a dress that's like plain or safe. I'm like, this is a real opportunity for me to like push these boundaries and like wear something that makes people look. Because I don't do that. Like I don't go to the store wearing things that people would be like, oh my God, look at what she's wearing. So I really wanted to make it a moment. And I think I did. I think the dress was amazing. Thank you.
It was so stunning. And the jewelry you wore too was just, I love the whole look. Beautiful first Oscars look that will be classic no matter when you look at it 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Thank you.
At the Oscars, you said you're a big fan of Bridesmaids and Emma Stone. Did you get to meet anyone that you greatly admired?
Yeah, well, I actually did get to meet Rose Byrne.
Oh my gosh!
Which I was very excited about. And it was a random run-in, but funny enough, her husband Bobby Cannavale, he did Blue Moon with Jonah, and so he worked with him for a month straight. I met him like 4 or 5 times. And we were just walking past, and Bobby was standing there, and they caught up, and he was waiting outside the women's restroom, and he kept saying, I want you guys to meet Rose. She's in the restroom. So he was just chatting it up with Jonah, and they got some pictures, and she came out, and then we all got to. It was so exciting to meet her because obviously Bridesmaids, and
Yeah.
I just think her work is superb. So that was definitely a highlight for me.
That's exciting. And again, to go there together, what a tremendous moment for both of you. And you and Jonah haven't shared the screen together yet, right?
I'm thinking we do so much together, like out. I'm like thinking, I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah, we write a lot together. We do a lot of like side jobs together. Like we're doing a musical right now in Glendale together.
Oh, wow.
But as far as like the screen goes, I don't think we have.
Wow. I'd love to see you two make a film or make a show together sometime.
I know. Well, like we're great writing partners, which
good.
is hard to find because people clash, and you have to really have an opinion when you're writing. But we got several things brewing, and I think it'll inevitably happen. But you never know when you're just writing something if you're just going to produce it and send it off, and anybody could be in it, or if it's going to be something that you're like, no, we want to do this. We want to put our friends together, and we just want to kind of like keep it close to home. So time will tell, but I think it'll definitely happen one day.
I hope it does. That would be an incredible collaboration, I'm sure. Prior to the Oscar nomination, you've said if you were a betting woman, you'd be attending the Emmys before the Oscars. After your experience with Jane Austen's period drama, do you still feel that your career trajectory lies more in the world of television than film?
Such a great question.
Thank you.
Because I think my natural energy and my natural instincts still really lean towards TV.
Okay.
But as a writer now who's like making things, I'm definitely leaning more towards like films. But again, my style is still kind of funny, lighthearted. Like I'll tell you this, the tone of what I'm working on right now is similar to Booksmart. So it's like,
nice.
It's deep and there's stuff going on there, but it's so silly. And there are moments that you're just like, oh my God, this is a movie. Like this is not a slice of life. This is a film. And so leaning into that, I don't know how much of my work going forward will be like Oscars vibes, because again, like traditionally those things are really heavy and really dark. And I have this one acting coach out here who's just amazing, and she's always told me, she's like, there's two types of actors, there's heavies and there's lights, and picking and mixing and matching people is so much about that. And she's just like, you're always going to be a light. And she's like, you can make people cry and you can do dramatic scenes, but as a performer, you are light. And there are some people who you just look at them and you look into their soul and you look into their eyes, and they're so heavy and they cannot pull off the comedy moments, the lighthearted moments. There's just this energy around them. And, maybe the Oscars is more suited for people like that. I don't know. I wouldn't. And I am a lighthearted, funny person. So you never know what's going to happen. But I do feel like I'll probably go to the Emmys one of these days. I just feel like TV is so natural to me, and I'd love to do another series.
Yes. And comedy is, some of the great dramatic actors, I mean, I'm thinking of Jane Fonda right now, will say comedy is a lot harder than drama. And that's saying something from someone who is brilliant in both genres, but comedy is especially harder for most. Yeah,
I think so. And I love to see anything super comedic get its time in the light and really, have a moment at something like the Oscars, because they typically don't get that recognition, and they absolutely should.
They definitely should. It's kind of wild that the comedy genre doesn't get as much appreciation. A lot of people talk about horror is underrepresented at the Oscars, but so is comedy. So,
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, Nicole. I have really enjoyed talking with you today. It's actors like you that make me so proud of my generation's place in cinema, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you'll do next.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This has been so fun. I really
Yay.
appreciate you having me on.
I'm so glad you've enjoyed it, and Jane Austen's period drama is currently streaming for free on YouTube, so be sure to give the short film a watch. I'll be sure to share the link to the film in both the episode description and on the All the Film Things Instagram. And you can follow at the Nicole Nelson on Instagram to stay updated with Nicole and what she'll do next.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This has been wonderful. And is there a film recommendation, a line from a film, really anything you would like to conclude our episode with today?
Oh, gosh. That's so hard. It's the very end, too. I don't know what I'm going to tell people.
Well, I have one to start off, if you would like me to. Okay. So I had been wanting to watch Overboard for a long time as a Goldie Hawn fan, and when I learned that you were a fan of the film, I watched it ahead of this interview, finally. And it just got better over the course of the film, I thought, pretty much. And the way it balanced the comedy and the drama and the heart, especially, it was better than I expected it would be. And I'll recommend Overboard today.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. I feel like I'm going to leave you with a quote because it's one of the only things coming to mind. Mm-hmm. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Yes. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Love Mean Girls. I almost got into the whole Rachel McAdams portrayal because her as Regina George is one of the best performances of the 2000s, I think.
Oh, yeah. And she's so versatile as well. Amazing.
Definitely. She doesn't make so many films anymore, but gosh, she's so good, and she really got her flowers recently with her latest film, Send Help, I think it was called, but I'm happy she did.
Yeah, I'll recommend that.
Send Help?
Send Help, because Rachel McAdams is just always incredible.
Always. Thank you again for joining me today, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for listening. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Special thanks to Nicole Alyse Nelson, Lisa Malcolm, Dr. Jillian Smith, and Helena Amador. This episode was recorded on April 16th, 2026.